Hey there, it is Matt, and I'm here with a video on why you need a complete marketing funnel. I'm going to go over what that even means, what it looks like, a little bit about how to do so, and then I'm going to show you how it all works together to make something truly unique. And it's almost like having a moat that's unbreakable on its own, because your competitors really aren't going to be doing this, and if they are, they're going to be billion-dollar company by now. So you really can position yourself nicely with whatever service or offer that you do using this exact strategy. So I like a little bit of structure in my videos. I like to, why are we even doing this ahead of time? So I have 5 reasons here that we need a complete marketing funnel. And the first reason is the sum of all parts is greater than the whole. And what do I mean by that? I mean by, let's say there's 10 different parts of a marketing funnel, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 adds up to 10. That's not true. When you add up each part of this marketing funnel, each part stacks on top of each other and multiplies to make the entire thing more effective. And if you are missing even 1, maybe 2 parts, it's really going to hamper the overall system, if you want to call it that. Without a complete funnel like this, you're leaving at least 70% of the profit on the table that you could be making. In reality, it's probably much more. And when you have this funnel, you're going to get more clients, which means you're going to have more demand, which means you can increase your prices and have higher margin for better employees, reinvest more in growth, and the cycle continues, right? Anxiety and stress will fade away because you'll be confident enough to make those key hires and invest in top talent, because you know that your funnel is going to be there working in the background 24/7, 365. If you've ever felt that you just don't want to hire someone because you're not confident enough, you don't know when your next client's coming or where it's coming from, that's not a good feeling. But if you have this marketing funnel in the way that I'm going to present it to you here, you are going to know and be confident that you are getting client after client after client, even when you're sleeping, type thing. And when you put all of this together, you're going to create what I'm going to call the infinite cycle, and I'll go over that in this video. And you're probably going to make at least 1,000 times more money than you are making right now and than you thought you could make. So let's get right into it. I have a diagram down here. So this is really what it's going to look like. At the top, we have our sources of traffic. There's 4 main ways to get customers. We got paid ads, we got organic content, we got outreach, and we got partnerships. So paid ads are what you'd expect: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Google, Twitter, LinkedIn, stuff like that. Organic would be the same, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, TikToks, you name it. Outreach, there's 2 different types of outreach. One is what I call automated outreach, which would be like cold email, cold DMs, that kind of stuff. But then you also have manual outreach, which is the old school prospecting that's going to keep your pipeline full. All it takes, it doesn't cost anything. There's no software, so you just go out and kind of do it. And number 4 is partnerships. Before we get into the entire funnel here, we have to understand that with our 4 main ways of acquiring a customer, each of these multiplies on the other one. A lot of people will tell you that you just want to find one customer acquisition method and stay with it. And I understand where they're coming from, but I still very much disagree with that. Let's go, before we get into it, a couple of scenarios. Let's say you're doing just cold email and you're doing outbound and you're trying to get clients that way. That might be an excellent way to start. Cold email, cold outreach definitely does work. But you're not going to have any recognition, any authority. They're not going to know who you are. You're just going to be one of the probably 20 cold emails they get every single day, and you have no power or authority or frame in that case. It's just more of a, they're in charge, they're the one responding to you. You're kind of on the lower level. You're the B in the A-B relationship. But if they've seen your paid ads before, maybe a few times, if they consume your content, for example, they see your YouTube videos or your TikToks or your Twitter threads or something like that, now it's kind of like they know who you are already, and that makes them not only much more likely to respond to your outreach, but it's also much more likely that they're going to be, follow your lead, for example, and it's going to be a much easier sale than just selling cold. It actually works the other way too. If someone has seen your ads a million times, they might follow you on Instagram, for example, and start consuming your content. And they might be happily consume your content for 3 months, 6 months. They see your ads once in a while, and then all of a sudden they get a cold email from you and they already know who you are. They're very likely to respond to that. And that's could be a very easy sale. They might not be interested enough to reach out to you on their own, but with your appointment setter, with your cold email, with your prospecting, that kind of things. So it all works together in kind of a cycle, if you will. Each one, like when you go from cold email or cold outreach to organic and cold outreach, you could say that's, you had one, you're adding one, but it's kind of more like you're going from 1 + 1 to 5. And then once you add the paid ads on top of that, it's 1 + 1 + 1 = 10. That's what I mean before when I go and say the sum of all parts is greater than the whole, and that very much applies to our 4 main ways of getting customers here. And then partnerships is another one, and you just got to ask yourself, who are people more likely to partner with? Someone who they've seen their ads, they've consumed their content, they've got cold emails from them, or someone who they've done none of those things. It's quite an easy no-brainer, right? If you are running paid ads, you're posting a lot of content, you're doing outreach, you're going to form many, many times more partnerships than if you did none of those things. So at the top of the funnel here, you'll see that our paid ads and our organic, let me turn my cursor on. Where's my cursor? Got it. They all lead to the lead magnets. So we have lead magnet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There doesn't have to be 9 lead magnets. There could be more. There could be less. This is just an example. So you're going to have a paid ad campaign going to all of these lead magnets, and you're going to post content that maybe promotes one lead magnet or at a time. So what is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is something that it's a tool, it's a download, it's a guide, it's templates, it's videos, it's an ebook. You get the picture that you are saying you will give people for free in exchange for their email address at a very minimum. A lot of the time you will get their name, their email address, their phone number, their company URL. It's kind of up to you, but at least an email so they can go into your flows. And how do you create lead magnets, or what should you do? First thing, nowadays you want to do it with the following rules. You want to make it as easy as possible to get the value out of it. You don't necessarily need a 100-page lead magnet that's basically a course telling them how to do everything from A to Z. You might do something as simple as recording a video and then summarizing what you think they should do in 10 tips. Like, that is a great place to start for a lead magnet. And you might also be wondering why there are so many lead magnets on this diagram. And that is because what you want to do is think about what you're offering. So in this video, let's just say we're offering YouTube editing services, because that's a great demonstration of what I mean here. So to brainstorm what you should make these lead magnets around, think of all the steps or all the problems that come with making a YouTube channel. You have to know how to come up with video ideas. You have to know how to create good titles. You have to know how to create good thumbnails. What else do you have to do? You have to know how to do YouTube SEO. You need to know how to do keywords and descriptions. You need to know how to set up your lighting and camera. You need to know how to, what's another one? Promote it on social media. You need to know how to read the analytics and the watch time percentages and stuff like that. And I could go on and on and on. These are very big problems that someone has to know when they're doing YouTube videos if they want to succeed. And as such, we can create lead magnets that solve all of those problems for our leads. They trade their email address for this information. We start building an email list. We start nurturing them with email flows. And that is ultimately how you get a lot of leads. And what you want to do here is you'll see that there's an arrow if we go in closely between each lead magnet. Don't just give them one. In each lead magnet, put a link to the next lead magnet. And then in that lead magnet, put a link to the next one. So if they like your first one here on the left, they're going to see the link to your second one in your lead magnet, and they're going to download that. And then the cycle goes on and on and on. In general, I think it'd be safe to say the more lead magnets someone downloads and consumes of yours, the more likely they are to become a client. Seems like basic common sense. I don't have any data or studies based on that. But if you have all of these lead magnets, you have an ad campaign to each. Let's say you're spending $100 a day. You could divide that $10 a day per lead magnet. If you're doing 5 posts a day, you could promote one lead magnet on Monday, the next on Tuesday, the next on Wednesday, and just cycle through them all as your call to action. And let's keep moving down the funnel. So I hope we have a decent understanding of these lead magnets and what to do for them and how they work together to create kind of a flywheel. Let's just say they'd get 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, and then they all just go back and you're just creating a big flywheel of leads and subscribers. So let's go down to right here where we have affiliate links. Let's go back to the YouTube ad example. There might be a lot of SaaS and software and tools that one might need to have a great YouTube channel. For example, I know that there's a software called vidIQ, which helps you create titles, which helps you create, descriptions, keywords, video ideas. I'm sure that they have an affiliate program where you could actually link to, I recommend you use this tool in all of these lead magnets, and if they click on it and sign up, you'll start to build MRR and affiliate revenue just like that. If you're doing this on a large scale and you get, say, 100,000 subscribers per year and 1% of them click on one of your affiliate links and purchase, and the payout is, let's just say, $25 a month on average, that is, 1,000 people, 1% of 100,000, paying $25,000 affiliate commission to you per month. If you do that for 12 months and they all stay and they don't churn, that's $300,000 per year. It's basically 100% margin. There's no labor involved. You're just kind of inserting this into your funnel. You're doing this anyway, right? And this is how you really build a stable, profitable business, especially with an agency that can be sold one day instead of you just cold emailing people and hopefully getting as many clients as you can. And when people leave, that's a big chunk of your income gone and all of that kind of stuff. If we go next to the affiliate links, we have products. So for example, let's keep with this agency, this YouTube ad agency. When you're creating these products, and I usually think a product is somewhere between $1 and $150. Anything more than that, I would really consider a course. It's something that someone could buy right now. They don't have to think about it that much. They don't have to weigh the pros and cons. They don't have to do too much market research. They can impulsively buy it if they think it's going to help. And in my opinion, what you want to do with products is create stuff that helps them do the lead magnets faster. That's the number one way to think about it. So for example, if you had, how to create a good thumbnail as a lead magnet, you might have, here's a 10-pack of YouTube thumbnails editable in Canva as one of your products, right? Absolutely unbelievable way to do products, and it's a very natural fit. Again, if you had these 100,000 subscribers and you had 4 products that cost $100 each, and only 1% of your 100,000 subscribers buys each product, that is, again, 1,000 conversions, 1% of 100,000 times $100 times 4. That's $400,000 a year. That's going to be pretty much pure margin outside of the payment processing fees. Again, this is how you build a very profitable, very stable business that can be sold one day. We don't want to rely only on client services because that's stressful for us and really has a much lower valuation than if we're going to sell it one day. So hopefully that makes sense for the affiliate links and products. These can be huge sources of profit, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year if you do this exact funnel, every single part. So let's go over here to the webinar and the training. We all know what a webinar funnel is, or a training funnel, or a case study funnel. These are all kind of interchangeable here, or a VSL. It's something where they can get all of the important information, and when they're ready to call us, they already know this, so we just have to see if we're a good fit and close the sale. We do not really want to be in a situation where we have to explain how it works and what we do on the sales call. First off, a lot of these sales calls are 30 minutes, and if we have to explain it to them, that's going to take off a lot of time, as well as you're going to get a lot of bad quality sales calls. If they're not really clear on what they do, they might not be interested, they might think it's too expensive, they might not trust you, all that kind of stuff. But if they've watched a webinar of you before, if they've watched your VSL, if they've looked at your case study funnel, or they've gone through your training funnel and you've really helped them already, they're going to trust you more. They're going to be more likely to become a client. They're going to take your lead and be a better client, and they're probably willing to pay more. So you can think of this webinar or training, because when we have this funnel, it's not unreasonable that we're going to get 1,000 plus subscribers, leads per day. We can't go back and forth with all of them anymore and be in their Twitter DMs or their Instagram DMs explaining every part of their service. We need something to basically be a mass automated sales rep for us, and that is what we want from our webinar or case study or training funnel. So hopefully that makes sense. It's usually you can have it automated. All of these lead magnets should have a link to, hey, watch this webinar, for example. Good examples are either, top 10 mistakes to avoid or top 5 things to do. Like for this YouTube example, top 10 mistakes to avoid when starting a YouTube channel for your agency. That would be a good webinar title. You give them 10 good points on what to avoid, and boom, they've trusted you a little bit more. Or 5 things or 5 hacks that agencies must do to get more clients from their YouTube channel. That would be an excellent webinar topic as well. 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever you want. But hopefully that makes a lot of sense. And think of this webinar as a mass automated sales rep, because we're going to have so many leads, it's not feasible to contact them and go back and forth and manually answer objections as it was when we were small or before we had this system. Next to the webinar, we have an appointment setter. If you don't know what appointment setter is, sales development representative would be like the same word, just the same thing, describing it with a different word. It's someone who's going to contact all these leads for us and try to book calls, get them to sign up for a webinar, that kind of stuff. So if we're capturing their name, their email, their phone number, their website, and we have some criteria in our CRM, if we've got that far, or we have some way of qualifying these people, we can have our appointment setter manually call, manually send a text message, manually email these people, and that will get us a much higher percentage of people converting to sales calls than we would have if we just relied on them to book a call on their own. So you can usually hire these people for very low salary and paying them commission or no salary commission. Ask around if you don't know what this is or you don't know how to hire one. There's many people who could give one to you, and I could recommend you one if you'd like. And then next to appointment setter, we have our newsletter. So this will be a once weekly email that we send to our entire list of subscribers. And we want to think about a few different things when we are creating this newsletter. Number one, we want it to be related to our service. So we're keeping on with our example of our YouTube ad agencies. We might have our newsletter about how to get clients with YouTube or how to get customers with YouTube if you're an e-commerce YouTube agency. That would be obviously perfect. And number two, we want to create our newsletter that it's inherently interesting to these type of people that we want to be our clients. You see a lot of newsletters and they're just boring, not engaging whatsoever. You need to put the same amount of thought and effort into making your newsletter engaging as you would a YouTube video. That seems to be much more clear when you're creating a video, but you have to have the exact same mindset as that when you're creating this newsletter. In terms of frequency, once per week, and this is separate from the flows, by the way. Once per week is a sweet spot and the answer for 95% of people. Don't send 2, 3, 4, 5 a week unless you've started with once a week, done it for like a month, and decided you want to do more. If you do it once a week, do it for 4 weeks in a row, say you want to do more, then go to 2 weeks, do it for 4 weeks in a row, and then 3, and then 4 weeks in a row. A lot of people will start sending these too ambitiously and then just stop altogether because they can't keep it up. And our newsletter is going to be one of our most important things to convert our leads into sales calls. So we might just have a newsletter that's inherently interesting to our audience. It might show the news, it might show tips and tricks, examples, case studies, excellent videos, that kind of stuff. But at the bottom, we also want to have we actually do YouTube editing. Here are some examples. Here are the before and after metrics. Here's how much money they closed. You want to have that at the bottom of your newsletter, and that will convert much more leads into sales calls than one might expect. So let's keep going on this video here. Sales call, I think everybody knows what I mean when I say sales call. If you're trying to sell them something that's more than $1,000, you probably need to get on a sales call, especially if you're new. So down here we have different types of offers. And the problem that a lot of people have is they only have one of these four things. They only have the recurring service. And that is a big problem because you're leaving a lot of money on the table when you only have your recurring service. One, not everybody needs a recurring service. Two, it's a lot more intimidating for someone to start on a recurring service right away. They might not know you, they might not trust you completely, it might be a lot of money for them. But if you can go on a one-time service, for example, beforehand, show them that they can do it, show them that you can do it with them, and kind of get a quantifiable result where now they've seen it with their own eyes, they're going to be much, much, much more willing and able to kind of upsell into this recurring service, and you're going to have a much, much higher close rate than you would otherwise. You're going to make way more money actually having a one-time service that upsells into a recurring service, and they can buy the recurring service if they really want to. I'm not saying don't ever do that. But let's go for our YouTube agency that we're doing here. We could have, instead of, recurring service would be, I'll edit you 5 videos a month for $5,000, let's just say. We could have either one video as a one-time service for kind of a one-time introductory offer. We could have I'll create you 10 thumbnails. I'll, write out scripts for 5 videos. Like, you could get creative and you could have multiple services. I'm not saying you just have to have one. So that's definitely something to think about when you are creating your offer, scaling up your agency with all of this kind of stuff. A great one-time service in the context of this entire funnel will have the following. It'll be, something that you can deliver at $500 an hour or more. So if you're charging $2,500 for this one-time service, you should be able to do it in 5 hours or less. And this is just to keep profit margins and make it worth your time, because someone, you or an employee, is actually going to have to do this. Might not be your main thing with your recurring service, but someone's going to have to do it, and you want it to be done well. Very, very important, because if it's not done well, you're definitely not upselling to the recurring service here. So $500 will allow you to pay someone $100 an hour to do this if necessary, and still have $400 profit for you. And that $400 profit can be reinvested in your ads, in your content, in your outreach, in your partnerships, all of that kind of stuff. And that's kind of the reasoning behind it. We want to have, so I said $2,500 there and $500 to fulfill with that math. So we have $2,000. So if we convert 1 in every 1,000 subscribers from our paid ads at $2 cost per lead, that's all it takes to break even. Now we have no customer acquisition costs, and our recurring service is all profit. And I hope that makes sense. I'm not really going to repeat it because, I got to keep the video going, but just repeat that math. If you have a $2,500 service, one-time fee, that costs $500 to do, you're going to have $2,000 profit. If you convert 1 in every 1,000 people from paid ads, assuming you have a $2 cost per lead, that's break even, and everything else is going to be free. No customer acquisition cost, because you already made it back with this one-time service. You'll be able to pay your appointment setter, pay for all the SaaS, all that kind of stuff. So let's go to the program, which would be like a done with you program. There's going to be a percentage of the market that doesn't want you to edit for them. In this case, they want you to show them how. They don't want to take a course, but they don't want you to do it for them. And a program where you kind of either give them a course plus consulting calls, or you have a community or something like that, is a great option. These are very profitable to do and very fun in my experience. It's much more fun to coach someone and teach them to do something, in my opinion, than it is to just do it for them. And then on the right, we have a course. So in terms of pricing, this will probably be the cheapest, the course. Then we'll have the program and then the services. And that's just because you make the course once, you can sell it infinite amount of times. The program is you build the program and then you deliver it very cost effectively, so it can be a bit cheaper. And then of course your services and your recurring services are going to be the most expensive. So This is what a complete funnel looks like for a B2B agency, a B2B offer. If you don't have every single part in this funnel, you are going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. So I wanted to show you something because at the start, we're going to create the infinite cycle. This down here is what that actually looks like. So with this system, we're going to be able to do two things. We're going to be able to generate leads, and we're going to be able to systematically convert cold traffic. Cold traffic is someone who doesn't know you, right? It's not referrals, it's not your network. Warm traffic is referrals, network, that kind of stuff. Warm traffic is one thing, cold traffic is another. A lot of people think that they're really good at what they do and really good at sales, but if someone's from your network, someone's coming in as a referral, you go through past a lot of the bullshit when they trust you. They're not going to be dicks usually. So cold traffic is what we really need to learn to convert if we want to have a huge company. So let's go through this infinite cycle, and this is what this system will help you create. At the top, we have leads. More leads means you're less needy. You don't need to make the sale, and people can inherently sense this. It means you're higher status, higher value, the less needy you are. And it's kind of cringe to use those words, but there's no better way to describe it. If you're less needy, it's easier to sell. People want to buy from you more because you're less needy. If it's easier to sell, you don't have to take on any nightmare clients that are going to ruin your life. It's easier to sell, you're going to have more clients, and more clients means more referrals, and then we go up in the left and back on top. If you have more clients, more referrals, you can raise prices, supply and demand. It's just a law of the market. If you have higher prices for the same thing, more margin. If you have more margin, you can hire better, more competent people. If you have better, more competent people, you can spend less time working. If you have better, more competent people and you make more margin, you can reinvest more in growth. If you reinvest in growth, that's more leads, and we go back to the top. It sounds pretty awesome, doesn't it? And that's what's going to happen when you make this system. It's really, really, really good. And then the important thing before we end this video is the opposite is also true. Maybe this is where you're at right now. If you have less leads, you're more needy, harder to sell. Because it's harder to sell, you have to take on nightmare clients. Because it's harder to sell and you have less leads, you have less clients, less referrals, supply and demand again, but against you this time. You might have to lower prices just to be competitive. Lower prices means less margin. Less margin means worse hires. You might have to hire idiots. If you hire idiots, you'll probably spend more time working and babysitting them than you would. No money left over to reinvest in growth, and less leads. It's not where you want to be, trust me. You want to create this system, and you want to be on the positive end of this infinite cycle, because it will work for you or against you, and you're the one who's going to have to decide and work hard to decide which one you want to be on. So I hope this video is helpful. It's kind of a long one, 28 minutes. But if you have any suggestions for future videos, just put them or message me or put them in the comments, and I will make them as soon as I can. Thank you for watching.